Dear students, myself Kiran MP. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Government Engineering College, Kushalnagar. In today's session, let we a discussion about JavaScript objects. So I think everyone are familiar with objects. You might have learned, yeah, you guys have learned in your C++ and C Sharp and Java. So we know what's an object. It's an instance of class. We have learned in our C++ Java, which are an object-oriented programming languages. So what about JavaScript? Even JavaScript is an object-based programming language. So first, let me have a look at the agenda of this session. At first, we will discuss about constructors. You guys know what is constructor. Constructor is used to create an object. Next, we will have a discussion about property. What is actual property? It's an attribute concerned with an object. Next, we will have a discussion on methods. What actually methods in this case? It acts as an interface to access the property of an object or to manipulate the property of an object. At the last, we will have a discussion about some predefined objects included in JavaScript. So coming to constructor. So what is constructor? It creates a new object. It creates a new object using the new keyword followed by the class name. And while creating an object, suppose it need to be initialized, we need to pass those parameters. As in the slide you can see, we are creating an object of class named object name, and this object is being initialized with the parameters p1, p2, pn, and the reference of this newly created object is copied, is written to a variable named sum object. I mean sum object is a reference to the newly created object. Also in this slide we can see shortcut constructors. Means for some classes we can create their object using shorthand. So here in the first case I am creating an object of class string, okay, using the statement where greeting equals good morning. In the second case I am making a new operator and passing and initializing this object with good morning. So now coming to property. What actually property? Each object might have properties that can be accessed, that can be manipulated. So to access or to manipulate property of an object, we need to make use of dot operator. So next we will have a discussion on methods. What actually methods? I said method is like an interface. Okay, it acts as an interface through which we can access the property of an object or through which we can modify the property of an object. And again the methods are accessed using dot notations. Now we'll have a look at some predefined objects included in JavaScript. First of all, it is an array. The second is math. The third is string, and the last is date. So what is array? Array is a class. We can using this class we can create a new empty array named anything. Okay, in this example I am creating a new array object, and the reference to it I am assigning to variable greetings. In the first case I am creating an empty array. Now while creating an array object, you can initialize the array object with some values, and the second example does that. One is using new operator and the other without using new operator. An array object is created, contents and is initialized with values, and reference to this array object is copied to greetings. In the third example, we are accessing the array element, the array object, element of an array object. We need to make use of index. So in array in JavaScript is dynamic. The size of array object can get increased, can get decreased. Okay, there exists an interface or a method known as push defined in an array class. Using this interface push, a new element can be inserted into an array object. And I said push is an interface, push is a method, so it is accessed using dot operator. Push adds an item to an existing array. So similarly, there exists a pop that is used to remove an item from an existing array. Similarly, there are some other methods like sort to sort the contents of an array, to reverse the element. Okay. So next, let we have a look at the math class. It's a static class. It contains methods like max to know the maximum element, min to know the minimum element, power to determine power of some x to the y, square root, exponential, and trigonometric functions such as sine, cosine, tangent. So suppose let me say the pi. Okay, to know the pi value, okay, to access pi value in my JavaScript, I can, since it's I said math is a static class. So static class can't be instantiated. The methods, the properties of static classes can be accessed only through the class name. Remember, the methods, the properties of static classes can be accessed through the class name. So since this math is a static class, I am accessing its member, property or its method through the class name math. So to know the pi value, I am using math.py. To know the square root of some number, I am using math.square root of 4. To generate some random number, I am using math.random. Remember why we used math dot? Because math is a static class. Static classes can't be instantiated. To access member or methods, we need to make use of class name itself. So let me look at a string object. Okay, I said here the string is not a simple data type like in C. Okay, it's an object. Means string is an object, not a simple data type. Means it has properties, it has some methods, through which I can access the properties of any string object. Okay, first I am going to create one string object and initialize with the value good, and its reference is returned to a variable greet. And the first case I have created using new operator, that is a long form constructor. The second case I am not using a new operator as a short form constructor. Now, supposed to know the length of the string object, there is a property known as length defined in string class, and it can be accessed through the dot operator. And it means a string object was some value, and to concatenate with some other value there is a method known as concatenation, CONCAT, defined in a class string, and it can be accessed using dot operator. Even plus can be used for operator concatenation. So there are many other methods are defined within string class, say at caret to know a specific character some index. And what is the character at some index? Index, I mean at particular index, what is char at returns a character at particular index. Index of returns, what's an index of some character, so and so. And the next object is a date. Date I've used in earlier slides. It's used to create, it's used to know the current date, current time. Okay, yeah, new date object is created and its reference is copied to variable d. Got it? This output, the content that will be copied is something like this output. Today is suppose assume that today is Monday, November 12, 2012, 3:40 p.m. 19 seconds. Okay, this is what the output you are going to see. Thank you.